Who knew a little blue monster would crash into Roy, resulting in a bus accident, and he would be sent away in seconds. But no worries, Roy can respawn indefinitely. If not in the mood, he can suicide reboot. Right now, Roy is still on the road, like he's on an endless tour. Friends, do you think he'll ever find the end? Oh, he seems to still be on the road. Can someone give him a map? If he's feeling down, he can always opt for a suicide reboot. He has no clue why he keeps coming back. He has no idea why people are constantly trying to take him out. It's just baffling. In every stage, he's died over 10 times. The enemies are like pesky little ghosts. One of the assassins is called Guanyin, a ghostly figure who strikes without a trace. This way of dying is relatively peaceful for Roy, unlike the brutal approach of this guy, Charlie. What are you doing? Oh, I just don't like this feeling. Compared to short-lived pain, Roy has equally experienced a prolonged and tormenting form of demise, which, in short, means seeking his own way out. And of course, Roy is far from being an ordinary person. In this never-ending game of death, the only one who knows his situation is his wife, Gemma. One time during a stage, Roy called Gemma only for her boss to tell him that she had checked out. Before Roy could process the news, he was turned into mincemeat by 2 assassins behind him. Talk about hard to digest. This incident made Roy realize that Gemma might have been set up, so he has to survive longer in the game. Previously, he always bit the dust on the bus. This time, armed with his driving skills, he easily dodged the bullets. But to survive, he needs to deal with the 2 assassins on his tail. The girls behind him immediately switched to heavy artillery. Shoot me. Roy drove to an abandoned factory, with the girls behind him relentlessly pursuing him, showing no sign of letting up. The heavy artillery opened fire, and the driver dodged, but lo and behold, the 2 cars met, granting Roy a chance for a counterattack. Take him out. I really think they deserve it completely. After clearing the stage, Roy took a breather at a bar. 12:47 is his highest record in nearly 200 attempts. This time was no exception. Upon seeing the bartender, Roy waved the white flag and turned to await death. Actually, one day prior to the official commencement of the loop, Roy had already received a message from the specialized decoding company. Roy is a retired Special Forces veteran who spent his earlier years fighting for their country. His marriage shattered due to his past dedication. His son has never met him since birth. Now back from his service, Roy hopes to score a job at the decoding office to make up for lost time. But the decoding office has been so secretive, only warning him that improper machine operations could lead to the end of the boss was monitoring their activities, worried that the decoding process might reveal secrets. Time was short, so after the big guy left, he suddenly snatched a strand of Roy's hair, telling him he had sent him a book. Before leaving, he asked Roy to remember the name Osiris, leaving him feeling a little puzzled. Roy then went to the bar in search of some entertainment and encountered the fabulous and alluringly cool May. As May locked the car, a decoding message came through to Roy, saying he did something crazy. Coincidentally, all of this was being monitored by the boss, and decoding failed to elaborate on the matter in the call. Roy didn't think too much and took the girl home. But the next morning, upon waking, he was back in the death loop. After 141 deaths, he finally got a clue and found the envelope left by decoding. The first few stages followed the same pattern, running for his life while flipping through the book. Turns out, he died on the bus again for not looking where he was going. No worries, he's up for another round, zipping through the previous stages. This time, Roy decides to drive first and read later. A drift and sharp turn later, he successfully dodged the bus, and then emergency swerves while the girl's firepower rained down. Suddenly, he saw the happy button under the steering wheel. One press, he zoomed off, leaving the assassins behind. He found an underground entertainment venue and began reading the book, but the phrases were all about Osiris mythology. But Roy isn't quite adept at decoding, leaving him scratching his head in confusion. Stepping out of the arcade, Roy glanced at the clock and saw it was already 12:50. That's 3 minutes longer than his previous. Looking at the familiar glitchy screen, Roy suddenly realized he was locked on because he entered the underground, briefly disrupting the signal. That led to an extended survival time. Now back above ground, the killers finally arrived just as expected. Roy decided not to struggle since he finally knew the reason. All he had to do was restart. After death, Roy was back to the starting point for another challenge. After clearing earlier stages, he reached a long drive diner and found the perfect positioning was in his teeth. Suddenly, Roy realized he was just digging his own grave, and that beautiful dentist was actually getting close on purpose. He was still wondering how to act when she found him, only to freak himself out. But he just couldn't take that step. He just couldn't. Then he thought to himself, dying is worth it for the school. Up next is an episode of Robin's Course, where Roy has no way to keep the story so brief again.